This conference will now be recorded.
So before jumping into the tools, we shall get familiarized with the environment, particularly Linux. Majority of our DevOps tools needs Linux environment. Also in real projects, like majority of the DevOps projects will be in Linux. Also Linux environments are more secure and they are more efficient to implement our DevOps strategies. So we need to have some Linux basics like at least working with the file system, working with the command line. What is that? Working with the file system. What is meant by that? See, you need to get familiarized working with your operating system of Linux. Means like how to navigate to the files and folders. Right? For any operating system, you should know the navigation, right? How to open a folder, how to open a file, right? You should be familiarized working with the file system and like creating a files, creating a folders, right? Like deleting them, managing them, and also installing any packages, means softwares on the operating system. Yeah, these are all the very basics one should be very clear with. Okay, you should have at least like how to open a file there, how to create a file there. These Linux basics are very important. Okay, so we'll be going through these Linux basics today. If you're already into Linux, you might be aware of these basics. We'll first get familiarized with these Linux basics so that we can jump learning on any DevOps tool. Slowly, as we progress through the course, when and there we come across, or else wherever there is a need of any other Linux concept like SSH and many other concepts, I'll be teaching you that. So whichever required to get started, those are the basics we'll be going through today. Okay, so for Linux, what is the major difference between Linux and Windows? What do you think is the major difference between them? And by the way, before going into this, let me ask you, how many of you are completely new to Linux here?
Have completed your Linux.
Just in the chat window, put yes or no. Whoever already like have Linux basics, put yes or else no, so that I can know like how many of you are new to Linux and how many of you are into it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, majority are new to Linux. Okay, so yeah, I'll walk you through the basics of Linux commands, okay, before we step into working with any tool. And also we'll do our lab setup today. So the first most basic difference between Linux and Windows, which you can see when you get into your, when you launch your system. Please keep muted everyone. Please keep. If you have a question, unmute and speak out. Otherwise, please keep muted. So you don't have a UI in user interface like GUI, graphical user interface will not be there for Linux systems. Like in Windows, you will see a folder as an icon, right? You double click, open it, you open the file, you get a very good UI, like you get a graphical user interface here in Windows, but that is missing in Linux. Okay, you don't have a graphical user interface, like you don't have icons and all to open. Of course, some of the Linux distributions like Ubuntu may have it, but in general, you don't have a graphical user interface there. You will be working with a command line. Okay, this is more apt in real time because when you're working with huge number of files, okay, working with from the command line would be more effective. Also, it makes your operating system light and more secure. Okay, so you should be used to using the your operating system from your command line. So working with your file system, launching your command line or terminal in your Linux, These are the very basics we need to get started. So here, before jumping into Linux operating system, what I'll do is I'll help you to have a command line experience in Windows, and then we'll jump into our Linux operating system. Okay. How do you achieve it? Like you might be all knowing, say in Windows, if you want any folder, you just double click this way. Okay, open subfolders or anything, and you do this way. Or else sometimes if you want to manage them, you can launch your command prompt right from your command line, and you can do that. Okay, to provide more command line experience in Windows, we shall use here something called Git Bash. Okay, what is this Git Bash? It has multiple purposes. Okay, first just download this Git Bash. See, don't do it now. You can just listen and do it after the class. I'll provide you all the links. Just go to downloads. Here, if you go to Git on Windows, if you just go here, you'll get Git downloaded. See here, Git exe file will be downloaded. I already have it. Okay, once you run that exe, you will get something called Git Bash installed on your system. Okay, this is your Git Bash. It provides you a bash experience or else a command line experience of your Windows. Okay, don't worry about how to install and all these steps will be there here. I'll be sharing you that also. Please allow a few minutes. Okay, I'll make the things clear. Give me a few minutes. Just go here to Git folder. You have Git installation on Windows. Okay, how to launch your Git Bash, everything were there with the screenshots. Okay, like I have shown you, you can just download and install it. You'll get a Git Bash. Okay, so okay, fine. Let's suppose this is your Git Bash. Okay, is the audio clear? Is there any audio issues? Like, are you having any echo?
No,
No, madam.
Is it good?
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Okay, okay, thank you. Okay, so this is your Git Bash, right? So let us work rather than working with a graphical user interface. Let us work from Git Bash. Means if you want to go to any particular folder, okay? Let's say I just want to go to this particular folder. Let me just launch it. See here, copy the address, okay, path of it. How do you navigate? Rather than from the UI, you could just navigate using CD command. These are all the Linux basic commands, okay, just to show you what happens with the graphics, like at the back end. I'm doing them from Git Bash. So CD and put the path you have copied. See, now here you can see you are into TF demo directory, right? So here, if you want to see the files and folders in Windows, you can just check the list here. But in Linux, like how do you check them from the command line? ls means it will list all the files and folders in that particular folder. Am I making sense? What are we doing here? Yeah. See, so these are the basic commands in Linux to navigate through your files and folders. ls will list all files and any subfolders in the particular path in this particular directory. Okay, so right now it was showing these folders. Yeah. Similarly, if you want, let's suppose I want to create any subfolder in this TF demo. Like in Windows, how do you do? Just right click. Here you will see new. You can create a subfolder like this, right? Let's say folder 1. Okay, these folders are called directories in Linux. So how can you create from your command line? mkdir means make directory. This is how you can create a directory. Make directory. Let's say I'll create another directory called folder 2. Are you all following, everyone? So
Yes, ma'am.
mkdir folder 2.
Yes, madam.
So folder will be created. If you do ls, see here at the back end, can you see that? See, you can visualize the things here graphically at the back end. That's why I'm showing you first from the Windows. We didn't get into Linux Machinate. This Git Bash will provide you some command line experience. Okay. So here you could see like the folder 2 created. Do you see that at the back end? This is what happens at the back end. Similarly, suppose now I want to go to this folder. In Windows, how do you do? Double click and you go there. But in Linux or else from your command line, how do you do that? CD, change directory to that particular directory name. Okay, now I am in folder 2. Do you see the prompt here? Also, if you want to make sure where are you, run the command pwd, means present working directory. See, it shows you on which directory you are in. Do you see that? Can you see that? I am in this particular directory, folder 2. Okay, are there any files in folder 2? In Windows, you double click and check it. But from the command line, how do you check that? ls. ls is showing nothing, means there are no files. Okay, let me create a file. In Windows, how do you do that? Just go here, right click, new. You can create any file this way, right? Any folder or a file. But from your command line, touch. Touch is another Linux command, okay, with which you can create a file. Let's say I'm creating file1.txt, right? So now if you do ls, at the back end, do you see that? File, a small text file is created. Isn't it interesting? You can learn Linux this way so that it makes things easy for you. So that you easily understand what is CD, what is PWD, ls commands, make directory and so on. Okay, let's have some command line experience in Windows before we jump into Linux. These are all Linux commands. Okay, so ls will show you the file. Suppose I want to add some content here. Okay, like in Windows, you'll right click. You may be using a notepad ++ or else a notepad, or else if you know the editors, you can use some editors at the back end, right? Like maybe some Visual Studio Code, Eclipse, different editors are there. Or else you could also do it through notepad. So you can do that through any editor. In Linux also you have something like Vim editor, or else without using any editor, you can also put some content into this file using echo command. First, let us learn echo. Echo, let's say hi. Echo is like a print command. Whatever you give in double quotes will be displayed. See here. Okay. Now I want to put the output of this command into this file. Okay, this double arrows or the redirection arrows, okay, like the output of echo hi command will be placed into the input of this file. Okay, so okay, fine, file is there, but is there, what is the content inside the file? If you want to check the content, cat file1. See here, can you see that? So hi is there in that file. So that is how you can also add some content to your files. Got it, everyone? And clear will clear your terminal. See here. And another command is like history. History will show you the list of commands we have used till now. Those are some Terraform commands. Just come here, right? Ignore them. These are the commands we have executed. Let me quickly revise. Make dir will create a directory. CD means change directory. It will take you to a particular directory or a folder. PWD, present working directory, means in which directory are you in, that will show you. Touch will help you create a file. Okay, echo command is like a print command. It will display some message, whatever you put it in double quotes, and that output I have placed into the file. Okay, cat is like a read command. It will show you the contents of the particular file. Clear will like clear the screen, clear your terminal. History will show you the list of the commands. Okay, these are some of the very basic commands so that you can just navigate through files and folders, okay, of your directory. 1 minute. Okay, have files and folders of your operating system. So what else? Yeah, like we created the files, you can also delete the files and folders. Okay, let me also show you that as well. Just 1 second, give me a second. Yeah, suppose you want to delete this file, like a file 1. Okay, we have created using touch, right? You can also delete it using like, let's say rm. Rm is to delete a file. Put the file name, file1.txt. Now do lsc. At the back end also, can you see that file is gone? So you can easily remember the commands when you see at the back end. Yep. So file is gone. Okay. Okay, fine. I'm in folder 2, but I want to come out of folder 2. Come out of folder 2 means one step back. I just want to go to tf demo. cd space dot dot. Okay, that will take you one level back, like you are into tf demo, right? See here. And now let's suppose I want to delete this folder 2. To delete a file, it's rm command. How to delete a folder? Rm minus rf, the folder name you want to delete. Rm minus rf means it will delete the folder including all the contents in it. So file should be gone. Yeah, do you see that at the back end folder 2 is gone? So these are all the simple commands which will help you to navigate through your files and folders in your Linux operating system. So these are the very basics. Once you get these commands, you can start launching your operating system and start creating any files or folders. Later on, we'll also learn how to install some softwares on your Linux. Okay, but these are the basic things. And yeah, again, if you want to navigate to this folder, okay, folder 1, there is nothing. Again, if you want to create, like I said, you can use touch, or else in Linux you can also use something called Vim editor. Okay, Vim is an editor through which you can create a file and modify it. Let's suppose here I'm going to create some text file inside this folder 1. Okay, let me go to this folder 1. There's nothing as of now. Now Vim, I'm running these commands in this folder 1. So Vim, let's say file1.txt. Okay, just give Vim file name, enter. See, this is an editor. Can you see that? It just launched an editor. To work with this editor, you should do escape I. Escape I means at the bottom you got into insert mode. Insert mode means it allows you to type. Let's say this is a text file. Okay, now I want to save it. Again escape. When you do escape, you will be out of the prompt, colon WQ exclamatory. Okay, with a little practice, you can learn those commands. Escape colon WQ exclamatory. I'll provide you the list of the commands. So this is another way to use Vim editor. So file is created. Again, if you want to check the contents, file 1. Okay, cat command will show you the contents of that particular file. And then let's suppose there is one more Linux basic command called date command. It will show you the current date of your system, including the time, okay, including the region like zone and IST. It was showing the current date of the system. So these are the simple basic commands, and we'll be learning about SH concept in Linux and other concepts as we go by, and installing packages also show you. As we got some understanding of how you work with a command line, let us launch our Linux system. Shall we do that, or any questions before we move ahead? Can I get a confirmation from every one of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Yes.
Bhavya, for confirming.
Yes, madam.
Thank you. Thanks for confirming. So now, let us start our Linux system. So now the question is, where is our Linux? Like maybe we'll be having our Windows or Mac, right? But for our lab to learn all our DevOps tools, we need some Linux machines. So you may be creating your some virtual machines on your local system, but that will put a lot of burden on your system. Also, to get familiarized with AWS environment, we are going to create some virtual machines, Linux virtual machines on AWS. Okay, AWS is nothing but a cloud platform. Rather than using VMs on your local computer, on your laptop, and put a lot of burden there, because as we progress through the course, we'll be creating multiple operating systems. Okay, I mean multiple virtual machines. So we shall use the virtual machines from AWS. If you are completely new to AWS, here you are provided with all the steps. Have you got all the installation documents, everyone? Here I have given access to this
Yes,
folder.
ma'am.
Yeah, lab setup on AWS. Here you can see a document numbered as 1. Okay, how to create a EC2 instance. EC2 instance is nothing but we'll be firstly using EC2 service on AWS. EC2 service is nothing but which will help you launch some virtual machines on AWS. Okay, if you are completely new, like how to create an AWS account and all, like any Gmail account, you can create a free account here. See, you will get some username and password. How to create, you can create a free account. Okay, when you create a free account, AWS will provide you free tier eligibility for 1 year. Okay, so you can go and create this free account by clicking this page. I mean clicking this URL, you can go there. Because I'm already logged in, I may not be seeing here. You will see like a free tier eligibility when you click this. Okay, go and create a free AWS account by clicking this link. See here, every step is there with the screenshots. You have to go and create a free account on AWS. If you already have an account, you can just use it. Or else if anyone new to this, follow this document, create a free account. Okay, you have to put some username, okay, your country, and it will ask for your credit card details. It is just for verification, that's all. It will just deduct some 1 rupee and it will also credit back just for a verification kind of. So you can go through it and create a free account. So once you have a free account and log into your account, okay, you will see this dashboard, like EC2 dashboard, or else you can search here for EC2. Okay, this will help you create some virtual machines so that you can use them for your lab. Okay, so till these steps I think you can do by following this document, right? Creating an account you have to do from your end. Okay, personally you have to do from your end by giving your personal information. So this you have to take upon your own 6 steps. Any questions you have, you can get back to me. So once account is created, once you log into the console, okay, let me also check here. How many of you have AWS accounts? Yes or no will help me again in the chat window. You could quickly put yes or no. How many of you have it? So only one student have the account. No one else? Okay. Okay. Okay, it's okay. So just follow these 6 steps and create an account. After the class, you can do it. Okay. So once you create an account, now how do you create a Linux instance? Even those steps are also there, but anyway, I'll explain you those steps. Just come here and click on launch instance. Okay. So here you will see, we see 6 steps. Do you all see here? Choose AMI, choose instance type, configure instance, add storage, add tags. You are seeing 7 steps, right? So there are 7 steps to create a virtual machine on AWS, which is nothing but EC2 instance. And which type of EC2 instance do we need? We need some Linux systems, right? So here you can choose Amazon Machine Image. AMI means Amazon Machine Image, which helps you to choose what kind of instance you need. I need Linux instance. Particularly again in Linux, there are different distributions in Linux. Like in Linux, you have different distributions like CentOS, Ubuntu, okay, Red Hat, OpenSUSE Linux, okay, and so on. These are they're the different distributions. What are these distributions again? They are like different versions or different flavors. In Windows, you have different versions, right? Like Windows XP, Windows 10, and so on. Similarly, these are all different distributions in Linux. And again, in real time, most of the systems would be CentOS and Red Hat based. So we shall create our environment close to the real time. So we shall create Red Hat based CentOS based systems. And which one suits that? The first one, Amazon Linux to AMI. This is nothing but CentOS Red Hat based system. So choose this. See, you can also have at the bottom Mac virtual machines, Red Hat or SUSE Linux, Ubuntu, Microsoft Windows. Do you see? You can create virtual machine from any operating system. Anyhow, this is best suited for us. So choose this, select it. And then choose an instance type. See, whenever you create any machine, you should choose like how many CPUs you need to put, how much of memory and all, right? Again, see here type, there are different types. T2.micro means it will provide you one virtual CPU and 1 gigs of memory. These are all the hardware related. You could just go through the steps. T2.small, T2.micro, in real time they might be needing large instances, right? Like 48 virtual CPUs and so on. But for our lab, this is enough, which is also free tier eligible, will not be charged for it. So select it. Then click to the, go to the next step. How many instances you need? As of now, I just need one instance, that is fine. Okay. You can just leave all of them as it is. Whatever information we need, relevant information, we shall discuss as we go by. For now, just don't make any change here. Fourth step also no changes. Fifth step also no tags necessary now. When do we need tags? I'll tell you. For now, no need. Sixth step, configure security group. Okay, this helps you to connect to your instance. So here what you can do, you can add SSH. SSH means, see, your EC2 instance is running on AWS, Amazon's data center, means someone else's data center. It's not running on your local computer, correct? But how to connect it? So we'll be connecting to this remote machine via a protocol called SSH. SSH means Secure Shell Protocol. See, we are having again a concept in our course on SSH, Secure Shell. We'll learn this concept in detail when we talk about Jenkins master slave concept and Ansible tools. As of now, I'll tell you in brief, SSH is a protocol, means a rule which helps you to connect to remote servers. Means from my Windows, from my local laptop, like from my laptop, if I want to connect to this remote machine, how do I connect? So through SSH. So just allow this connection. Okay, give here SSH, that will do. And also, if you want to connect to any other ports, you have to add here that particular port. Okay, here for now you can add all traffic, but this is not a best practice for security reasons. You have to add only one particular port, whichever you need. But for now, again, just leave them like all traffic. That will do. Okay, why it is harmful, what you should actually do. We'll keep on modifying it as we learn, as we go by. For now, just leave them like this. You can add the rules. I already have a rule added, so I'm selecting it. That's all. Review and launch. See, that's what it's giving you a warning about security. It's okay. For now, it's fine. Later on, we'll modify it. Now go and launch your instance. See, whenever you are launching instance, it will ask you like create a key pair. Okay, a key pair consists of public key and a private key. This is the concept behind SSH. Okay, I'll teach you this concept as we go by through our topics. For now, just follow the steps. Okay, the concept behind it we'll learn as we go by. Just select create a new key pair. Give some name to the key pair like ABCD or something. And for the first time, it will give you download option to this key file. Download it. See, can you see here abc.pem file? It will be downloaded as a PEM file. That's all. Just save it and launch the instance. What is the importance of it? We'll learn. Just view your instance. See, it was getting ready. This is the instance I have created. Okay, you may just name it so that you could identify it easily. Like let's say October 21st, I have created something like that, or else let's say for demo. Okay, just give some name. Okay, done. In few minutes, it will be showing the status as running. And let it go through. Yeah. Okay, fine. My Linux instance is ready, means Linux virtual machine is ready, but how to connect it, how to work with it, isn't it? This is my laptop, my local machine. This is Windows, but because I need Linux environment, I have done that. How to connect to this remote AWS instance? There are multiple ways to connect. Okay, listen carefully, and all those multiple ways were here. Sorry, here in the lab setup I have placed all those steps. Okay, all the documents. After the class you can also practice. Now come here. To connect to this, select the instance. You will see something like public IP for the instance. Always use public IP to connect to it from outside AWS. Your Windows means it's outside AWS. Your Windows, your laptop is not inside AWS, right? It's on a like a remote machine. So get the public IP. Or else before that, let me show you a quick connection. Select the instance. At the top, you will see connect. Just click on it. See, you will see EC2 instance connect. Quickly, you can do a browser-based connection. See here. Do you see that? You just got connected, and EC2 user is a default user for this Linux machine. And that's all you got. You just got connected. Understood, everyone? So now here you can run any commands like ls, cd, slash means it's a root directory, the parent directory in Linux. See again ls, there are some folders like I have shown you, mkdir, let's say my directory, you can create a directory. Yeah, see EC2 user do not have permissions to create files and folders. You need to be a root user. Root user on Linux is like in Windows you have admin user, right? A kind of. So how do you switch to root user? Sudo su hyphen root user. See, I became a root user. Root user is like a super user. Now you can create any files and folders. Let me go to the parent directory root. Okay, ls. Now mkdir, let's say my directory. Now it is created like I have shown you in Windows. Directory is created. You could navigate to that directory again, create any files and folders and work on it. Okay, so first, how did we connect? Browser-based connection. This is browser-based connection without installing any clients. You can directly install it. Am I clear till this much, all of you? Any questions? Are you all good? Can I go ahead? Please confirm me with yes or no in the chat window, or else you can unmute and also confirm. Anything is
Yes, ma'am.
fine.
You are clear.
Following everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for confirming. So, browser-based quick connection. And another way to connect is, again, go back to your instance. Okay, this is my instance, right? So now you can connect via SSH clients. What are these SSH clients? When you are connecting from your remote machines, you will be connecting via a protocol called SSH. So there are multiple SSH clients. Again, select the instance, go to connect. Here you can see SSH client. Yeah. See, open your SSH client and run these commands. That's what it says, isn't it? It was clearly showing like open your client and run those commands. Yeah. So here, what is your SSH client? See, git bash also works like an SSH client. Okay, git bash is an SSH client. Another one is putty. First, let me show you this through git bash. Means from git bash till now we worked on Windows laptop directly. Now I'll connect to this machine. See, it clearly shows you the command. But first of all, see, it is showing you the PEM file. First, go to the location of PEM file. Where is my PEM file we have downloaded? Do you remember we got a PEM file when we create an instance? So here is the PEM file, this is the path. So you should go to the location of the PEM file from your git bash. So yes, your PEM file is under downloads directory here. Perfect. Now again go here and copy this command. See, it is SSH. SSH commands we'll learn later. So just copy this command and run it. Get SSH -i. You have to pass the PEM file as EC2 user, the default user, and this is the DNS name of your instance. You could use DNS name or public IP, anything is fine. So now copy this command and run this from your SSH client, which is git bash. See, it is asking you for confirmation. Are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes. So do you see here your prompt changed? I became an EC2 user and this is the IP address of my instance. Just go and check here. Like I said, you could use this public IP or else the public DNS. Okay. So it was showing you the same. Of course, here when you are logged in, it will show you the private IP, this one, 189. Right here and here also you can see. Finally, I got logged in. Okay. Here you could also check. Clear. And also let me switch to root user sudo su hyphen. You can work from the browser or work from here. Go to root. See, just now we created some directory called my directory. Do you see that? So I just connected to the same instance via git bash. So these are different ways you can connect your instance. Another way is through PuTTY. Shall we go and see connecting through PuTTY? So let's see the third method. First method is browser-based connection, this one. Second method is through git bash. Third method is through PuTTY. Let me also show you connecting through PuTTY. You have to download a software called PuTTY. PuTTY is nothing but another SSH client. Okay, so download this PuTTY from the URL. See here, do you see here PuTTYgen and PuTTY? You need to download two softwares, PuTTY and PuTTYgen. See here PuTTYgen on Windows, just go to this and download. Okay, I'll provide the links there. See, this is your PuTTY. Okay, this is your PuTTY. And you also need something called PuTTYgen. This is your PuTTYgen. Why you need PuTTYgen? See, from your git bash, from this one to connect, we have used a PEM file, right? PEM file is the file you have downloaded. But PuTTY will not use PEM file. For connecting via PuTTY, you need to have something called PPK file, private key file. It should be in the format .ppk. Okay, so you have to generate the PPK file using this PEM file. So how do you do that? First launch your PuTTYgen. Okay, it's called PuTTYkeygen. You can just go here and click on load. Okay, you could load, you could just select set on generate. Okay, it will generate a key file. You can just hover over your mouse there to carry out the steps quickly. And it says it is saving. You can just save the private key file. Private key. Okay, it will ask you for the passphrase. Before that, you have to do one more thing. Just go on load. Here, load the PEM file. Just select all files. You will see the PEM file. Load the PEM file. Okay. Now, once you load the PEM file, I'm showing again. Go for load. Here, it will not show you. Here in this option, you should select all files. Then it will show the PEM file. Select it. Now it says successfully imported the key. Now you click on save private key. Okay, without passphrase is fine. Now just save the file. I'm giving again the name as ABCD. Okay, see here it will be saved as .ppk file. Okay, done. Now just go and check. You should see a .ppk file. Refresh it. Yeah. Do you see here, everyone? Because Putty will use this ppk file for connecting. Okay, it cannot take up this PEM file. So using this PEM file, we have generated this ppk file. Now launch your Putty, not Puttygen. Now launch Putty. Okay, so here you should put the, see here, host name or IP address. You can use, go back to your EC2 instance. Okay, here again selected, you can use public IP or else public DNS, anything is fine. I'm selecting public IP. Go to your Putty. Okay, put the public IP there. Go to SSH auth. Okay, I'm repeating again. You could watch the video and also do it. Put the public IP, SSH auth, select the file, ppk file, under downloads ABCD. Okay, open. See, it will give you a prompt, accept it, and it is asking for login. Default login is EC2 user. Okay, see, you are logged in. Do you see that? Let me increase the font. Go to change settings of your Putty, appearance. Let me increase the font size so that you can see clearly. Okay, now switch to root user sudo su hyphen. Do you see there? I become a root user. Again cd slash go to root. Okay, here you could see again my, it's the same instance, just connected in different ways. Got it, everyone? Understood how to create an instance and how to connect using different SSH clients and quick connection? Am I clear with these steps? Let me summarize what we did. We just created a free account on AWS. Okay, AWS free account, like any Gmail account, create a free account, Gmail, Facebook or Twitter accounts, create a free account. And now we have created an EC2 instance. EC2 instance is nothing but a virtual machine on AWS, which is Linux. And then we have connected to it. That's it. Connected to the instance, that's all. After that, we have to install the tools, we have to learn the tools and so on. Okay, how did we connect? 3 ways. One is quick browser based connection, second one is via git bash, which is an SSH client, and then through Putty. Right, Putty cannot use PEM file, it needs ppk file, so we have used Puttygen to generate it, whereas git bash used directly PEM file, which is downloaded when we created the instance. Okay, the concept behind SSH, behind this PEM file, ppk file, I'll teach you as we go through, but these are the steps so that we can kick start working with our tools. Right, so now I got connected to my instance. So we have seen working with our files and folders on Linux, how to delete, how to create, right? How to open a file and all. I'll also show you installing some packages on our Linux system. Shall we move ahead? Everyone with me following?
Yes, madam.
Yeah, right. I'll also share you the links to installing Git Bash, Putty, and we'll share the documentations for tomorrow. Before you leave, don't forget to ping your email IDs. Okay. Anyway, now let us see installing your packages. Let's suppose I want to install Git on my system. Is Git here available? Is Git there? Just run the command Git. See, it says command not found, means Git is not there. So let us install Git. How do you install Git? Depending on the distribution of your Linux. Okay, depending on the Linux distributions, like whether it is CentOS based systems or Red Hat based or Ubuntu and all, there are some package managers in Linux which will help you. Packages mean softwares which will help you install, uninstall, remove and your packages. Okay, package managers. Like if they are Debian based systems, the default package manager is apt-get. If it is CentOS and Red Hat based, it's a Yum is the default package manager, which will help you install the packages, manage your packages on your system. So which distribution is our Linux? Please speak out, interact so that our sessions will be more interesting. Okay, fine. Let's suppose you have created it, but
Red
still you
Hat.
don't know which. Yeah, Red Hat. Which distribution is it? You could check this file. etc OS release. Cat etc OS release. Cat means I'm checking, I'm opening the content. I'm opening this file called OS release, which is under etc directory on my Linux. So that is available by default. See here, ours is Amazon Linux 2, which is like CentOS, Red Hat and Fedora systems. Means Yum is the default package manager. Means I can use Yum, install what I need Git. That's all. Okay, if you want a particular version, you could use the exact version of your package name. Exact name of your packages you can get through Google, or else simply do Git. It will install the latest package of Git, latest version of Git. Install Git. See here, it is asking for confirmation. Give yes. Okay, so yes, Git will be installed. Run the command git. Yes, you are seeing lot of text, lot of verbose. Earlier it said git command not found, right? Means yes, git is successfully installed. Also, if you want, you can check the command git version. Okay, you can check this way, or else from git bash also we have connected to the same instance. I could also check here now. It was just stuck up. Wait for a few minutes, it should be working. From here also you can check on it. So what is Git again? We didn't learn anything about Git. Okay, we'll learn that also. It just got disconnected. It's okay. So you may be working on Git bash or else from your putty. Anything is fine. Yeah. Yeah. Now Git, what is Git and all we'll learn tomorrow. But remember one thing, Git is a tool which can be used or which can be compatible for Windows, okay, Linux, also Mac. You can use Git on any operating system. Okay, you can choose anything for lab. Okay, I'll show you both. Okay, we'll be learning Git in such a way that you can use on any operating system. Git commands, everything remains same whether you use it on Windows or Linux. Okay, I'll show you both. So this is the agenda for tomorrow. Tomorrow first we'll start learning what is Git. Okay, why do we need Git? Who uses Git? How is it helpful for our DevOps? Git architecture, and then complete Git hands-on from basics till advanced part, and how do you use in our DevOps the practical scenarios as well. So before we go for that part, anything else you have? Any questions? I believe you are all clear, like working with a file system, right? Do some hands-on. Okay, practice is very important here, particularly whoever are new to this environment. You should get used to navigating through files and folders, like how you work with your. Please keep muted, everyone. Please keep muted. Okay, so do some hands-on, do a little practice on these commands. Okay, for now these commands are enough. Okay, as we progress, I'll be teaching you rest of the Linux commands and the concepts. For now, to get started, these are enough. Tomorrow we shall learn completely about Git. Any more questions from anyone else? See, don't leave the webinar. We are not done yet. Okay, please stay back. I have few things to mention for tomorrow's class. I'll provide you the document to create your lab, okay, and to set up your environments, connect your lab in multiple ways. All the documentation will be provided, go through it. And whoever are new to Linux, definitely do some hands-on. Every day, hands-on assignments will be given from tomorrow once we start hands-on, so that you have to complete them before you join for the next class. Okay, make sure you are doing the hands-on before you join the sessions. This is just getting familiarized with our environment to get started. Whoever have not shared your email IDs, ping me your email IDs in the chat window privately. And any questions from anyone? Bhavya, Gopichand, Raja,
No.
Fatah.
Ma'am, actually, I have one doubt, ma'am.
Tell me please.
You told we can install in multiple ways, like we can install through browser or putty, and one more, this one. We can install whatever, which way is easy. We can install through browser or what, putty, or else we have to install in browser also and putty also.
No, one method is fine. It's not, you have to connect, okay? You are connecting to your instance in multiple ways. Okay, this is your instance, you are connecting to it in multiple ways. You can go with the browser based also, but I would suggest you to go through Git bash. Okay, putty, as you get used to it, once you practice, slowly you can do it. Any one is enough. You need not do all the ways.
Okay.
Just to show you different ways, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, please share your email IDs privately, okay? I'll share you the recording for today and also the documentations required for tomorrow's class. Any more questions, any concerns, anything else from anyone? All right then, okay? We'll close here for today and we'll continue with the Git part, like we'll start actual tool from tomorrow, okay? Once we learn Git, then we'll step into the next tool one by one and slowly we'll develop a delivery pipeline. Thank you Gopi Chand, Raja and Tanmay for sharing your email IDs, and I'll share you the content. Any more queries? Any questions regarding the training or anything else you have? Sure, Fatah, I got your email. Please preferably share your Gmail IDs. I'm sharing the Google Drive documents from Google Drive, right? It will again request for permission. So preferably use some Gmail IDs. Got it ready. I got your email ID. Shall we close here then?
Yes, ma'am.
All right then. Bye everyone.
Yes,
Have a
madam.
great and see you all tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.